Good morning. Hopefully that was a good keynote. Some really exciting stuff coming out. My name is Aneesh Gupta. I'm from Centelli. And I've got Jon Davis with me. Jon Davis is the CTO of IV Collection. Jon, do you want to introduce yourself to the crowd?
Yeah, as Lee said, I'm Jon Davis. I'm the CTO at the IV Collection. We have about 125 restaurants and private members clubs, UK, US, UAE, including the IV Collection, Bills, the Burley Clubs, and Caprice Holdings. So quite a varied business in hospitality.
Thanks, Jon. Now, we decided to do something a little different. Jon's been working with us for a number of years, so we said, what's the experience that Jon's had, and let's share that with everyone because hopefully it'll help you in your automation journey. Now, Jon, you've been doing this a few years. As a CTO, you've seen a lot, you get exposed to a lot of technologies, you have a lot of people saying, use our solution, use our solution. But a few years ago, you decided to use intelligent automation with UiPath as a way of helping you with the challenges at IV Collection. So what were those challenges, and why did you particularly choose intelligent automation as a solution to actually fix them?
Yeah, I mean, we looked at it from a stance that we did some business process mapping, and we realized that some of the roles that we were hiring for, their job descriptions had changed massively, and they weren't actually doing the jobs that we'd brought them in for. It was more they'd just got into a process where they were just doing daily tasks. They were being ground down by the absolute monotony of repeat, repeat, repeat. And it wasn't benefiting the business. Staff morale wasn't great. And obviously, having worked with automations in the past, we wanted to really change the way the business worked and get people back to doing stuff that was actually business focused, driving sales, driving revenue, creating efficiencies. And that's where we saw automation coming in and helping us out.
Now, that's a big change journey, right? So you've got a business, and the IV Collection, really a lot of legacy, a lot of history, and trying to make a change takes time, takes a lot of energy. In our experience, the only way you can be successful with change is when you have a champion or a sponsor. So how did you go about at IV Collection trying to recruit this champion, recruit this sponsor?
Well, initially it was me. So I was the champion of automation. Having previously worked with it in my former role, I knew that it was going to drive real business change, a real benefit to the business. So then it was identifying the key individuals in each department because, as I'm sure we're quite a big business, each department goes away and does their own thing, and it was really trying to focus on who is the person in that department that can be the champion, drive the change, talk about it in a positive way. I think sometimes when you talk about automation, you have to remember that actually not everyone works in technology. A lot of people don't know what it is. There's a fear factor to it because actually, oh, is this thing going to take my job? And you have to really get over that very quickly because otherwise it becomes a very negative thing. And having those champions in place in each department that can say, listen, this is not replacing you. This is to get you back doing what you're meant to be doing day to day. And that's where we came from it, and that's how we attacked it.
Yeah, and we find this when you take away some of the things that intelligent automation can automate, you actually do make people's lives more meaningful. And we've seen revenue impact, we've seen costs go down, but the fun part is when you actually go and see somebody and there's smiles on their face about, oh, this has really transformed my life. I'm doing things today that I really didn't want to be doing. This is what my job is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Right. Now, so you've got this, you've got it, now you've decided you've got automation, you've got to build a team. So how did you go about taking a team, given the staffing challenges you had, given the fact that people didn't know? So what was your initial foray into this?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult time, especially in hospitality, in terms of obviously the cost of living crisis. It's very difficult to hire staff. We don't carry a massive team. Headcount's super important to the efficiencies we're driving in the business. So for us, it was really to choose the right partner and work with third parties. And we do that with most of our projects in terms of bringing in the expertise from outside, working with you guys at Centelli, helping us out, helping us along the way of our project. Like I said, we do have internal champions, but actually building an internal team just around this wouldn't make sense for us long term. So it's about making sure we've got champions in each department, but then leaning on the experts outside as a third party to be able to do that.
Yeah, very good. You've got the team, you're trying to get success in, you've said that's the way we're going to go, and as a sponsor, you would have set some parameters for them. So what did you see as your vision of what intelligent automation is going to deliver, and what did you tell your team saying, go out and maybe here's what I'd like you to achieve?
Yeah, I mean, for me, as the sponsor, as the champion for the overall project, it was about delivery, about doing it, about actually not just talking about it, not just kicking the tires, but about actually delivering something, delivering real value in terms of how we're making people's day-to-day lives better. So it was, obviously, we want to drive efficiencies. I mean, in one example, we had Christmas, obviously, busy time for hospitality. We're getting tens of thousands of inquiries. And it was two people's jobs just to say no to people. And just to and that is not a job in itself. But because you get into the daily process of that, it's like, well, how can we say no in a nice way, but automate it so you can get back to the people that we can say yes to? And it was really moving that and shifting that sort of focus on, we're just doing it for the sake of doing it. We're just doing it because we've always done it that way. And changing that mindset, that was really, so the delivery was the key. Being able to say, we said we were going to do this and we've done it. Another thing is the automation should work, but it shouldn't have to be monitored. So it's no good going from monitoring one monotonous process to then monitoring just a different one. So that automation had to be there, and we had to just let it and trust it to work. And we got there. So that was a super important part for me as well. And then obviously it's for the business leaders in each department to work out their KPIs, what they're delivering back into their department to then deliver the overall goal.
Yeah. And did you see a change in attitude once you saw those initial round of success? Was it easier as second round or third round?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think you have a lot of people that will look at you like you're crazy in the initial sense. People that are not familiar with the process automation, you start talking about it and they think you're, in hospitality, we're quite old-fashioned. I've worked in it for 20 years. Being in technology, you're always trying to drive change, but that's a mindset thing. And talking about automation, again, people, initially it's fear. It's, oh, I do that, why are you letting this robot do it? Yeah. And it's that education piece, making sure, so once you've done that the first time, it's much easier the second time to then say, well, we've got this process running, it's been super successful, let's move on to this.
Yeah, it's that success, that initial success, and then capitalizing on it. Now, this was not your first time you were doing automation. You had done automation previously, we'd worked together. Did you ever think about setting up an internal COE?
We did, but it's very difficult because we're such a varied business in terms of things we want to deliver. It's so fast-paced, it's so agile, that actually, like I said before, leaning on you guys to be able to sort of parachute in that expertise was sort of where we wanted to be.
Yeah. It's something we see quite a lot of, where every time people look at it and they go, it's my process, so I should be able to do it. But actually, in our view, it's a slightly different skill you need. And it's not a skill that makes a difference to your customer, so why build a skill? Be the expert on your process. Yeah. Trust a partner to maybe deliver the services.
Yeah, and I think people feel a lot more confident and secure and safe when you've got a number that you can call, a person you could talk to, and you know that they are the experts. They've done this 100 times before. Yeah. I think that gave us a lot of confidence to be able to drive forward.
No, good. So you've been down the journey. It's been a couple of years now at Ivy. Where do you see the future? Where do you see intelligent automation fitting into the fabric of Ivy collection over 5 years?
Well, I mean, I think we'll continue to drive different processes. We'll continue to drive automation across all departments. Actually, I've left myself till last, so the IT department is next. Yeah. So we're going to go for a big change of automation. And we'll continue. We actually see a massive benefit in terms of where we've historically had massive problems with system integrations. Actually, now we're sort of experts at this automation piece. We can see that we can move away from sort of vendor-to-vendor integrations and actually put automation processes in the middle. And it's really massively helped us along the road. And the great thing for me is that I have people feeding it back into me. Now, it's not me telling them, it's them saying, oh, actually, can we automate this? Can we automate that? And now we're in that mindset, we'll continue to see those processes grow.
So it's the champions you recruited earlier on who are now actually
they're the ones
taking
driving
the
me
charge.
To say, can we do this, which is great. That's where you want to be.
Yeah, so it's flipped around where the demand's now coming from them. Excellent place to be. And so do you have any, given your experience, anything you'd like to tell the audience? Because you got everything from customers to prospects. Anything you want to share as saying, here's a key factor that you should think about when you're thinking of automation journey?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the most important part of the beginning of the journey is the education piece. So the piece educate, I mean, I'm in technology, obviously you look into these things, you know that they're coming, you know that they're available to you, but actually other departments don't. So, like I said, there is a fear factor there, and that education piece in the initial stages is super important. And then you can go on the journey together, and it's not a negative connotation that, oh, you're doing this to reduce headcount, or you're doing this because you want to make my job redundant. It's actually, no, we're on the path together, and we want to do this for the benefit of the business and the benefit of your day-to-day life and your enjoyment of work, and that has always been our focus. It's never been about reducing headcount.
Yeah, and technology is an interesting one because wherever we go, we see people trying to run 1,000,000 miles an hour. We've never been to any organization that says, I've got spare capacity here. Nobody has capacity. Everybody's busy. They have more than what they need to do. So actually, automation is going to be helping them
For sure.
rather than fighting it. But we generally put it into the technology and we get afraid of AI, whereas we're actually down the journey and it's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's an element of learning and cajoling, and it's great to have sponsor and get that. Get people like you behind it.
Amazing.
Good, thanks. Anybody have any questions for me or Jon that you'd like to know about? Maybe something you want to share from your automation journey, some experiences that you have, you'd say, what's your idea on this?
No? No takers.
Okay. No takers, it's too early. Good. Jon, thank you so much. Yeah?
Thank you very much. Oh.
Nick?
How would you find and motivate the sponsor?
Internally?
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I think it's, you have to be able to demonstrate. I mean, in the current role, the Ivy Collection, for me, it was a much smoother path because I'd already done it in a previous role. So I could bring that knowledge into this role and show real world examples of how we'd changed the way the business worked. And I think those case studies really helped everyone internally to me really understand the power and the benefit that they could be driving into their teams. The first time we did it, it was a lot harder because we didn't really have the knowledge internally to say, obviously we lent on Centelli to be able to show us case studies from other places, other businesses like us that had been able to do it. But I think it's just experience and driving people. And like I said, the education piece, taking people on the journey with you. It's not something you're doing to them or forcing them to do. This is going to benefit the whole company and everyone that works in it. So,
yeah, good. Okay. Well, thank you so much. Have a lovely day. And if you've got any questions, we're at stand D4. Please pop over. We're more than happy to share our experiences. Thank you.